All right, so second layer of 1-inch poly iso on the ceiling now. Basically just scored fit to size and then scored the back of it so that it would follow the contour of the van. Foam board adhesive, Loctite, to adhese it to the ceiling and to the second layer between both boards, and then went around with great stuff and hit all in between all of the joints. And here you can see where there's the 2 layers where the max fan is going to be going in. We were starting to put that in when the weather turned on us, so we held off on that, changed gears to deal with the insulation here. So a few strips to kind of help hold it up while things are setting up for the first few minutes and stuff, but after a little bit they hold up pretty well, plus a little tape here and there too, just to be sure. That's all well adhesed now. And again, now we've got the foam everywhere in between that holds it and locks it all together. And I'll have more details of how we're going to finish out all these points coming up shortly. So it's a little hard to see here, but I thought I had it caught on my GoPro, but I had trouble with my SD card, so a lot of the footage that I had for the initial part of the installation is lost. So I had to back up a little bit. But this gives you a little idea here too. The first piece I cut between these points on all of the ribs everywhere, so that it would stick right as high up to that level as we could. And then the second layer was further out towards our main rib supports, and it gives it a space here to fill with some insulation and lock it all in there. But that way you get a pretty good solid 2 layers of poly iso foam and no air gaps, so we can keep it all nice and tight. Pieces on the end up here had both curves going both directions, so I used separate pieces. There was actually, the first layer was a piece down the center here, and then over here I infilled in between those and then overlapped those joints with these pieces, and you can kind of see where basically the pieces are scored on the back side here and here, so that it can bend both directions and follow the curvature of the front of the Ford Transit van here. So with the 2 layers going on so far, this is already our 13.1, and I'll be infilling some more 1/2 inch for another 3.2, I believe it is. So we'll be over 16 for the ceiling on here, and I'm going to keep it nice and cool in the heat and a little warmer in the cold. A little correction, 2 inches gives us 13.1 already. And we're going to do another 1/2 inch, so we will have 16.3 by the time it's all said and done. And for anyone who might be wondering, this is again the sound deadening material, not Reflectix. Again, something that a lot of people I see do on van builds is they use Reflectix for the insulation on their walls like this, which is completely useless. If you put Reflectix like this flat against a surface with no air gap in between it, you're actually conducting the heat and the cold through the material. It does absolutely nothing for R value. Even in this optimal situation with a 3/4 inch air gap on the front and a 3/4 inch air gap behind it, it's still only R3. Poly iso insulation has the highest density level and the best R value of anything out there currently available. And it can be molded to fit into curved spaces just like this in multiple layers, and gives you a far better R value, and does the job way better than Reflectix. Reflectix is good if you're going to put it over windows and places like that where it can reflect the heat back out. And another big thing, make sure again, if you put it on, make those window covers, give yourself a good space between, you know, if you're going to put magnets on or whatever, make sure that it stays off the glass by 3/4 of an inch or so. That way it's the most effective. Using our little laser thermometer here, the front over the driver's seat area, that's just the metal directly, is 105 degrees right now with the sun baking on it. And as soon as we move up here where we have two 1-inch layers and 1/2 inch layer, boom. Oop, a little hotter right there. 81 right there. Yeah, the adhesive that holds it up there is a little warm. There's a glob of that adhesive like right there. Once that cools down, it'll all be like that. 78, 79, 80-ish. Back up, whoop, where'd it go? There it is. To 105. All right, so we're almost done with the insulation. You can kind of hear the difference in here. Michael's been doing an awesome job bitting all this awesome wool into the cavities here, and I've been getting all this polyiso layered up on the ceilings, and where we're able on the sidewalls here, we're going to max out a little bit more of our space here, and so right now we've got just 2 layers of 1/2 inch polyiso on these side panel areas, and some spots are going to get covered with some cabinetry, so those will get some more insulation, but other spots will remain open, so we'll utilize that space better. But Michael is in the process of filling up this whole bulkhead above the driver's area, which is kind of all just wide open up there. But yeah, yesterday I put the heat laser on there, and we were at 110 degrees in the peak of the day, so definitely going to help getting a bunch of that wool inside there to fill it up and cool things down.
That's right.
Okay, so we're insulating the floor now of the Ford Transit we're working in, and the 1/2 inch polyiso foam just happens to be almost the perfect thickness to infill between the ribs on the floor for a first layer that'll even everything out, and then we'll put another layer 1/2 inch over the top of all of this, followed by the underlayment for the flooring, and that way we'll get at least our 7-ish for the floor, and get things nicely prepped for our actual final flooring.
All right, well, I hope this was helpful for any of you to insulate your vans. A couple questions there. I'm sure people have the different brands that are on the walls in different places. We had to run around and get some different insulation from different locations because not everyone carries the 1/2 inch polyiso sheets. Hope this answers some questions people have and gives you some ideas of how to do this in your van of any kind. These same things will work in a Sprinter or in a ProMaster or anything else. Hope it was helpful. Stay tuned for more coming up with framing and electrical and the wall construction going in. And thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like and share, and we'll see you on the next one.